In Sao Paulo, Brazil, Christchurch, New Zealand, Copenhagen, and Kyoto, Japan. James Kalm, the guy on the bike, and today we are dropping into the Shainman Gallery. And thank you. We're gonna make a quick Friday afternoon run through of a show by Yoan Capote titled Collective Unconscious. Well, I was bopping around last night. It was Thursday, and came by for the opening, and I was very impressed with the show. So I decided I was going to come back today and try to catch a couple of minutes of video. This piece is titled Laboratorio, and this is mixed media, including gelatin silver prints on glass, scientific equipment in vitrine, dimensions variable. Well, one of the things that I think is noteworthy about Yoan's show is that Yoan is a Cuban artist, and normally I don't care for a lot of what would be called political art, but I thought this was extraordinary because Yoan is an artist that's in Cuba, has been staying there, and a lot of these works are statements about his perceptions and relationships with the government and living in a controlled environment. So I think a lot of these glass vessels have photographs dealing with some of the demonstrations in Cuba. That's good. Okay, so we got our little Karl Marx and Lenin photos. But seems that Yoan maybe not so positive about this. This is titled Rule Life, watercolor on paper, and so we've got a little level sort of cut into the middle of this tree. So we've got the horizontal and the vertical. This is another piece titled Laboratorio Embudo 2012, gelatin silver prints on a pair of porcelain urinals. I was looking at these and wondering what they are. So this is his kind of riff on a Duchamp. And here we've got more protests. This is actually a two-part show, and I'm going to try to run up to 24th Street and get the second part. It's called Hombre Nouveau. This is a study for one of the sculptures at the other gallery. So we've got basically a spinal column made out of bound handcuffs. This piece is titled Sacra Geomenica, and I couldn't help thinking of Don Judd when I saw this. but it's kind of an interesting take. So we've got this cube suspended, and then we've got the pieces that were cut out of it here on the ground. But this kind of makes me think of a Hans Haacke piece that he did, I think it was maybe in the early 80s. It was a box which was a kind of cell that was used by the US government. This is another beautiful piece. This is called Apertura, and Yoa has produced a couple of pairs of scissors. So the upper pair, you've got the scissor kind of turning into a silhouette of Florida, and then the other silhouette is part of Cuba, and it's wonderfully crafted. Got a couple of more pieces here. Well, this kind of gets you into the more, I say, the whimsical side. This is titled The Diplomacy Lessons, Nose Chairs. And as you can see down there, we got a couple of brown noses extending up through the bottom of the chairs. And I was thinking that a lot of this work kind of makes me think of some of the surrealists, in particular Magritte, but this is very inventive stuff. Two realities. Well, we'll pan across the main gallery. One of the themes that keeps popping up again and again is kind of this theme of repression and prisoner and restraint. Now, this is the piece that really caught my eye. This is titled Eminence 2015. Wooden door hinges and metal structure, 120 by 180 by 180 inches. Okay, so what we've got is a giant sculptural face of Fidel, and this has all been made out of old rusty hinges, and it's got a rebar framework armature that's holding it up, and then of course you've got all these old doors. And well, I look at this, and for some reason I kind of thought that Yoan was trying to say something about maybe all the doors that had been kicked open by Fidel's guardians of social justice. And this is another interesting reference here. Okay, so we've got a little doorway cut in here with your security locks, and as we float up the wall, everything seems to get a little smaller. You know, the great thing is that he's doing this all with, I guess, ready-mades. But I think Yoan is actually a very, very clever and interesting artist. This is titled Old Speech, 2010 to 2011. Stone, bronze, iron, sand, photo documentation, speakers and speaker with chain. And so his little mic and mic stand, this is all patinaed bronze, I believe. And It's got a couple of beautifully weathered stones with these inset bronze speaker forms. It's titled Visceral, 22 by 15 inches bronze. And yeah, this kind of also alludes to maybe a rib cage or something, and I'm not sure, but I think that maybe there's a reference to the shape of the island of Cuba. Let's run over to the other gallery. Okay, well, we're back. Gonna run into the Jack Shainman on 24th Street to go on with our tour. Geez, look, they're giving a tour here. Okay, maybe this is the artist.
So this piece is very touching outwards, because the population in Cuba mostly is all old population, and all statistics say that a big number of young teenagers, and like you say, between 25 and 35 are immigrating. We're immigrating now. This is the whole population right now because of immigration. So this is the feeling of the all part of the family missing the others. I was inspired with the idea that the sign language to do the mold of the hand of several anonymous persons. So my interest in doing the mold of those people that didn't know each other, and to take all those hands in these positions and create words that are metaphors about the capacity of normal people and anonymous people to have a decision on the state of situation of society. So this kind of pessimism about the capacity of normal social individuals to have a real voice, or having a real decision in society. So I did several words in this series, a couple, because I did politics, democracy, and this is Libertad, which is a very meaningful piece for Cuba, from the Cuban history, and even for people, even right now, not only in Cuba. I always was very lucky that in this show, because New York, United States, symbol, of a limited opportunity, opinion, opportunities, space. I'm here to put all of them in this position where you can read in this print, and you can realize what letters are, what word they are constructed together. The relation of manipulation that exists between the artist and those anonymous people's hands is a kind of metaphor too about manipulation of structure of power with the vote of the owners. I was thinking about the danger and how can I say, the emotional contention that exists in society that have been resistant and have so many have so many interior oppression, have so much tension inside, and this is those images that are passive, very passive, just people together doing an event. But what I like to create the tension and put in the concrete and create an object with two materials, transforming a photo in a sculpture and creating the the allegory to the dynamite of explosive. One of the big questions in Cuban society is how is going to be the change and the fear to all these contradictions, civil contradictions, after you are reordinating so many different positions, political positions in a country with so many contradictions, to create that charge, talking about always the possibility of having another revolt and another.
Oh, this is a beautiful piece.
Where does things called again that the bronze goes to? The title? This is the gating.
The gating.
When you cast an object in the foundry, you have gatings, which is all the events where the bronze melted, bronze create the object. When I was looking at the gatings in the foundry, it inspired me about the circulatory system but which is interesting for me is the object of the angle, is the object created for being hidden. And I was interested in the angle as an object that is a symbol of strange. And the title of the piece is Pride. Pride is a word very used in the rhetoric of nationalism and politicians, talking about the national pride and the pride of the people that doesn't have anything, just the only value or the only valuable things you can have, even if you don't have any other important, how can I say, feeling. You have the pride that comes in your history, the pride that comes in your own capacity of support and resistance. So when I was thinking about that, how incredibly something that functions, so many people that consider this how can I say, personal legacy as something that gives them more strange. Their piece could be a comment, as how can I say, political comment, could be also a statement about social, contextual, Cuban, very local statement, but also it's a human statement, because if you go to any human being, the sensation of the pride is an imaginary illusion that you have as more strong. And I like the first idea that people could hear the word, because it was interesting that the bronze and the sculpture that is made for looking at it, people could hear the sculpture, and the subject represented here was ready for support anytime heard. And also, of course, talking about this capacity of resistance that you can have when you have integrity. Yeah.
It's a beautiful piece.
Oh, thank you. This is the allegoric. As I told you in the lecture, this is inspired in the Edward Munch screen. I was really thinking about this, but the contention of screen, the contention of expression. The title, dialogophobia, is a word I created. Dialogophobia doesn't exist, but I created that thinking somebody for it exists, talking about the fear to express, to have a normal dialogue with the others, which is very common because the paranoia in some societies like Cuba, where people just have a common dialogue, and this introspection is like a kind of tension in your inside, in an action. So this piece is part of the emotion in my own experience in the countries, where expressed personal opinions are very difficult. This is the result of that word that is like a megaphone, and you have to. I like the idea from outside, very minimal, comes from inside, very organic, and you can feel the sculpture of the interior of the throat. This word, named rate, I was reading so many articles about what's the order right now in the society, what's the order of the world, mostly created through economy. And I was interested in creating parallel and metaphorical interaction among the paper notes for different countries, and how this crisis of values and the big chaos that is between among countries because of the economy could be evocative of the parallel as a metaphor with the sexual relationships, and this big orgy is a kind of representation. Also, there are so many interesting nexus among countries in this relation of power and sexuality. There is a lot of symbolism about submission, pleasure, or how can I say, interaction. And here we have the abuse of power. As I told you, from Cuban religions, the tree has like a soul. It's a good. Some trees are examples of the human conditions. And so, but there is a tree that is a symbol of strange, and you can't bend it. To bend a tree like that is almost impossible. the natural environment. So using the process of the bronze, of the lost wax, I used it when it was in wax. I forced it, and I could modulate it with the real handcuff and submit the branch to that position, which is the process of the wax lost in the bronze. Is a good metaphor about the indoctrination and the process of growing of a person. You know, when you are in the clay or in the wax, it's a moment that you are shown finally in the process to make it that you solidify. The solidification of the bronze is like the solidification of the personality of the society that at the end just finish total guilt and accepting the control as something normal and natural. This is anonymous homage. Although I use my own traces here, I like the idea of identifying how can I say, my trace as an artist, in the sculpture, like the hands of any other person. So any other person can feel and look the piece that is assuming this position on the piece. The idea is similar when the strange of tide on the bronze and the hold of and the, how can I say, the frustration of sensation is on the piece representing, you know, an invisible presence. It's like somebody, and my idea was to take others, bring it to the street, and ask the persons that were walking to give me their imprint. And then they, in a certain way, are free, and unconsciously, also everybody is in a certain way submitted by social control. This was the first idea. Well, thanks.
Thank you, that was wonderful.
Any question, you can do it. Any question?
What has the government response to your work been? You're living in Cuba, you're going to be going back to Cuba?
Yeah, I think...
You don't have to say anything if you don't want to.
No. I don't know.
You don't know? Oh, that's good.
That's good to know. No, but I think I'm an artist. And
yes.
When you are an artist and you maintain your statements inside the art, it's always very well respected by art institutions in Cuba. When you maintain your statements from the art. My problem could be if I try to use the art as a political tool, but I'm not, don't do it.
It's all very allegorical, it's not too propagandistic. I have another question for you. You mentioned the fact that...
How much are you going to pay?
Gee, I thought that would be corrupting. Who else has influenced you? You're talking about Bosch with the triptych, and some of the other things I'm thinking, you know, do you have other artists that you look at that you've been influenced by?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Bruce Nauman.
Bruce Nauman.
Yeah. Tim Hawkinson, very nice.
How about some of the surrealists? I was thinking Magritte, sort of, some of the illusions.
I think after Magritte we had a bunch of good artists that,
sure.
How can I say, filtered all of this first surrealism.
Right.
That's why I like it's like a updating.
Yes.
Yeah, the updating example of this.
Thanks, Yoan.
Thank you, my friend. Have a nice day.
Well, that was a... little treat. I didn't make any plans for that, but it's nice. Yoan gave us a little tour. This has been James Kalm reporting on Yoan Capote, Collective Unconscious. Here at both of the Jack Shainman galleries here in Chelsea. And as always, thank you, Kate.